To get some perspective on how absolutely psychotically insane this is, we don't even have any information on what the tariff rates are going to be. Like, they're saying on Liberation Day, these tariffs are going to roll out with, like, apparently no prior warning on what the rates are. And the funny thing, I mean, like, it's the people most affected by this are business owners, because they have to do the math on, like, you know, costs and expenses and what they're going to have to pay for this and how they're going to have to raise prices and so on. Like, it's remarkably anti-business. What countries are affected? Either 15 or all of them. Scientists haven't figured it out yet. President Donald Trump's proposed tariffs are a day away, and they'll go into effect sooner than some had expected, as in immediately, the White House said Tuesday. What? Although many details remain unknown, perhaps even to Trump himself, the administration's Liberation Day trade policy announcement is expected to be the most aggressive tariff move yet by the most tariff-obsessed president in modern history. Trump is meeting with his trade team Tuesday, and tariffs announced at Rose Garden ceremony at 4 p.m. ET Wednesday will go into effect immediately. At the Rose Garden ceremony, or... He told reporters late Monday that he'd, quote, settled on a plan for sweeping new tariffs to be announced midweek, catching some White House officials by surprise. If the president had indeed arrived at the final decision for the tariff, it hadn't yet been widely shared inside the building. Still unclear is whether Trump plans to levy individual tariff rates on all U.S. trading partners, put tariffs on only some countries, or apply a universal tariff, perhaps as high as 20% on all imports. Do you have any idea how insane that? I'm not even gonna. You, of course, you know. If you're watching this, then you're probably aware. Yeah, it's just like I bet you there are still, like, you know, petite bourgeois motherfuckers who are watching this going like, I'm sure somehow this is going to work out. I don't regret my vote for Trump. All of this is part of a grand strategy. There's no way this is going to end the way that it certainly seems like it's going to, or some insane shit like that. Or I don't know. People are so bored now. Whatever. Accelerationism keep winning. I don't care. Fuck you. I think Trump said all country in his plane. No, I saw the video of Trump saying, he was asked, like, so are you going to place tariffs on the, what was it, Dirty 15? The 15 countries that he laid out as the ones with the most punitive tariffs towards America? And he was like, I don't know what that is, the Dirty 15. Even though he's used that term before. And then he was like, I don't know, we'll hit all countries, whatever. No one knows! A Moody's simulation found that such an escalation in the trade war, a 20% universal tariff, would wipe out 5.5 million jobs, lift the unemployment rate to 7%, and cause U.S. GDP to drop by 1.7% from peak to trough. If that happens, we get a serious recession. It's a wipeout for the economy. We've never seen anything like this. It's unprecedented and radical, said Erica York, vice president of federal tax policy at the Tax Foundation, a right-leaning think tank. The Dirty 15.
My lead source tonight is Republican from Montana, Senator Tim Sheii, and it's great to have you here. As for what you're expecting on Wednesday, how expansive do you think these tariffs will be?
Well, fundamentally, I think the point is the intent of what these are aimed at doing. And I think a lot of the economists that have been referenced a lot here, they're focusing on kind of a late 20th century economic model, which really has been the bedrock of how the stock market reacts, because they want certainty. And they've built their models around an economic model that has the United States has reformed its industrial base from what it used to be, which was a manufacturer and an exporter of key goods, to one which we have encouraged through our national fiscal policy to send manufacturing and heavy industry jobs overseas. And that's exactly what's happened in the last 30 years. And what it's really been is an upward transfer of wealth from blue-collar jobs, middle-income jobs, to the finance sector and to tech sector. That's not all bad, but it does have impacts that we have to accept are real, and that is hollowing out a lot of our rural communities and manufacturing communities. And the intent of these is to bring a lot of those jobs back and reinvigorate industries that are key to America. So I think on Wednesday what we're going to see is a very clear policy that says we want businesses to invest in America. And if you don't invest here, and if you're not doing what's right for the American worker, you're going to pay the price.
But do you support what this is going to look like on Wednesday? Are you prepared to say that you do support it, or are you waiting to see what the details are?
Well, first of all, as you've even heard Kevin Hassel just say, the chair of the National Economic Council, we don't really know exactly what's going to look like yet. And the president is in the process of making his decision of what that's going to look like in actual final form. But I think we've pretty clearly seen what it does look like in draft form, which is we expect things that are good for our people, reducing fentanyl flows into this country. He's made very clear to China that if you're going to continue to import precursors and fentanyl itself into our...
This is what I mean by the midwit phenomenon, right? The idea... so this guy clearly... I mean, he has no idea what's coming, right? He's aware of the fact that it's going to be ruinous. But he's sent here as like an envoy to defend like the abstract of the tariff policy, you know. He knows he's lying. This has nothing to do with fentanyl, right? But it's just like, how do I package this in a way that sounds intellectually defensible? I hate this shit, man.
Country for the specific purpose of killing our people, we're going to use tariffs to make that stop. If you are Colombia and you're refusing to take back illegal, criminal, violent aliens that have come here, we're going to tariff you. If you're Mexico and you're not helping us secure the border from massive illegal immigration, we're going to tariff you. So the tariffs have both a broader intent to reform the economy and make world trade fairer for the American taxpayer, and they also have very specific targeted intent that makes sure we're stopping a lot of things that have been going on that are bad for the country.
Yeah, the White House seems to be making this argument that maybe there's short-term pain but long-term gain here. But you just mentioned some of those countries. I mean, I was looking at the numbers. 95% of Montana's imported goods come from Canada, Mexico, and China. Is this going to hurt people in your state, you think?
There's absolutely going to be short-term pain. The president's been clear about that. Everyone has. I mean, if you're going to remodel your house to make it better in the end, it's going to be really annoying in the short term when your house is getting remodeled. And there's drywall dust everywhere, and there's workers in your living room.
It's just like 96% of your imports or whatever. It's just if you're getting your house remodeled, man. It's not like everything in your economy, basically.
The reality is that remodel has got to happen in order to make things stronger and more stable on the back end. We've had generations now of countries taking advantage of the strong American economy, the strong American workforce. That's happened in Western Europe, where they have not had to pay for a military, they have not had to pay for an intelligence construct because we've essentially provided them a free umbrella for security. South Korea is a similar situation. They've had an amazing economy based in manufacturing and technology that has benefited from the fact that we've had 20,000 troops on the 38th parallel for 75 years, allowing them to exist. So, and it's not de-linked from tariffs.
I've said this before, but like, I've said this multiple times. There really would be like no difference if Trump and I guess the Republican Party broadly were Manchurian candidates sent to destroy American hegemony. It's not even an exaggeration. This is actually how you do it. Like this is a thorough dismantling of every system that has put us on top of the world for the past 80 or so years. Everything. From U.S. aid to foreign investment to the globalization of the economy to the selective involvement of our military to maintain like key alliances in areas that box in our enemies like China and Russia on every level. It's like our military alliances, our economic partners, our incredibly good neighbors, Mexico and Canada, who allow us to benefit massively both from the cheap labor down in Mexico and from the raw resources up in Canada, our biggest trading part. Like it's like every advantage we have, every benefit we have, all of it being taken away. It's incredible. Oh, this is the guy that shot himself in a park to pretend he had a military service injury. Is that true? You've said it and now I believe it.
This whole broad construct of America First really outlines that America has underwritten the prosperous 20th century for the entire world. And now what is happening as we're looking down the barrel of unrecoverable debt and deficit spending, it's about time we start to rebalance those tables and ensure that we can bring investment back on shore. And that's happening. Companies are announcing $2 trillion of investment back into our economy.
Sheii has said a bullet lodged in his arm during a 2012 Afghanistan firefight, and that suspecting it was friendly fire, he did not report the incident at the time to protect his unit's members. In 2015, when seeking medical care in a Kalispell hospital, he said the injury was from an accidental discharge of a firearm in Glacier National Park that day. A park ranger cited Sheii and fined him $525 for discharging his gun. Sheii told the Washington Post that he, quote, made up the story about the gun going off to protect himself and his former platoon mates from facing a potential military investigation from an old bullet wound he said he got in Afghanistan in 2012. He said that questioning whether he was shot in Afghanistan is tantamount to falsely accusing him of stolen valor, but he declined to release his medical records and stated records showing he received the bullet wound in Afghanistan do not exist. Okay. Sheii left active duty in 2014 and was discharged from the Navy Individual Ready Reserve in 2019. Sheii wrote in his memoir and in a resume submitted to the Montana State Legislature that he had been medically discharged due to wounds received in Afghanistan. In October 2024, an NBC News review of Sheei's discharge paperwork found that Sheii voluntarily resigned from commission, contradicting his claims that he was discharged from the military because of injuries he sustained on duty. Yeah, it's pretty much like all of them are like this, right? It'd be pretty difficult to find a single Republican these days who wasn't like an obvious con man from top to bottom.
We're comparing, but there's a lot of companies that right now are doing nothing because they're waiting to see what the policy actually is. So there's actually a lot of, there's not a lot of mergers or anything happening because people are nervous about this. You liken this to a remodel. Sometimes those take longer than you plan for. I mean, if you're an American and you're waiting to see what does short-term pain mean? I mean, how long do you expect that to last?
I mean, we don't know. And of course, I'll add a lot of the media frustration with the uncertainty around President Trump's new
not media,
strategy.
Business uncertainty.
Oh, sure. But, the media is helping with that. I mean, business uncertainty responds to public market sentiment.
Listen to him try to explain away like the insanity of massive global tariffs where the details of the policy aren't even being announced until they're in action. It's like indefensible. There's no explanation for it. It doesn't make any sense, There wasn't nearly as much pearl clutching when we had record inflation, record interest rates. Whatever. They all talk like this. It's all the same thing. There's never, the frustration stems from the fact that there's literally never going to be a big turnabout moment. There's never going to be like a, oh my God, this is insane bit, because they're all just paid to lie. It's foolish to expect that of them,
And those 401k people who were depending, those retirees, all of that, just talking plain speak with them. Look, when this nation used to go to war, people in this country would support the war effort with their materials at home and making things for weaponry and all of that. We got to do 100% buy-in over this bumpy period. Just communicate.
What? Listen, Trump's economic policies are so ruinous that they're tantamount to rationing that we experienced during World War II, okay? You need to grow victory gardens because it's the only way you'll survive the hardship and suffering being incurred upon us by these policies, by these tariffs. Fox Business doesn't have any videos in the past 10 hours about the tariffs, at least none that I saw, while scanning over it very quickly while looking at chat. I wonder why.
Today, I would like to focus on the threats to global prosperity and stability, thus our competitiveness, and the rise of protectionism.
Oh, never mind. That sounds boring. Do you think he's going to pull back at the last second? I feel like it'd be really difficult to pull back from this. Like global tariffs, Liberation Day. They've been planning this one for months. Like there's so much leading into this, I think we're really getting into it. I mean, this has been a pattern. Yeah, but they have been like rolling the red carpet out for this one for quite a bit. Is it even Trump's decision? Well, technically, yes. The president has basically infinite power in laying tariffs, which is insane, in my opinion. I feel like it'd be a blow to their prestige to not. It's bad for the business community, too. The business community really does not like these. And I'm saying this with sympathies to the business community, because this is literally like the entire economy, man. This isn't like a class war thing. This is just like, well, what if all of the systems that we rely upon to make the modern world function didn't work? What if all of it just got broken for no reason? Big Freudian slip from a Republican senator on Medicare.
Let's bring that approach not to just what DOGE is doing, discretionary spending, but let's look at Medicare. Is there some way that we can cut Medicare so that reform Medicare so that benefits stay the same, but that it's less expensive, more efficient?
That's great, man.
I would say that there is, and that's where our opportunity lies. Let's bring that approach not to just what DOGE is doing, discretionary spending, but
accidental non-dog whistle. I don't even... It's every day with this shit, man. Whatever. Liberation Day is coming, okay?